So my name is Melanee. I'm the branch manager at the Capitola Branch Library, and I've worked for SCPL for about 17 years or so. I started as an on-call and then became a library clerk, that's what we were called in those days, and eventually made my way into being a branch manager.
I'm Brenda and I worked here for 10 years now. I came as a librarian into youth services at the downtown branch, and now I'm the branch librarian here at Capitola.
Yay! Our three little things: connect, inspire, inform. Inspire, connect, inform. Those three words.
And those two really do sum up what we're aiming for here. And we know we have a lot of support in the community. The great thing about this library is we're going to get a brand new one. And that's largely because this is overused. It's falling down. It's way beyond its due date. And so we know that we need to do much more here than we're able to do in this current building.
Well, we're incredibly, both of us, excited about having more space, and particularly having more places that we can provide activities and events for people. Right now we do some programming for children, and it's very popular, and it impacts anybody else who's in the branch. And we also can't do very many things for adults, because this table area is where we would do them, and if we're open, and it takes up much needed space, and it doesn't give the groups any privacy. So we're going to have a community meeting room, which should hold about 50 people, I think they were estimating, and that will be available after hours. Very exciting. And then we're also going to have a smaller meeting room that we could use for book discussion groups or knitting groups or any other kind of smaller event that we'd like to put on. So that's really exciting.
And there'll also be some study areas. There'll be a noisier part of the library and a quieter part of the library. I mean, right now, if you do anything at all, it impacts everybody in the library, regardless. You just need to have an excited conversation at the desk, and the whole library knows about it. So that'll be really good. And there's a big demand for programs here, and we really can't do them. It just doesn't work. Our book group comes before we open. Otherwise it wouldn't work properly. When we have Tales to Tales here, they take over the children's section, so really you can't have people in looking at books or studying in that area if the Tales to Tales is here. But that's very popular. It actually started at this branch, so we want to continue that. And the playground outside means that we always have children, and they run in and out to use the drinking fountain and the restrooms, and they run in and out just anyways. And so it's a very noisy branch, and I think that does make it difficult for people who are looking to do some study or do some group work, something like that. We just don't have facilities for it.
And this really is a community branch. It's an interesting hybrid, because it's a community branch in that we get the same people every day. They know us, we know them, and people love to come here and meet with each other and make connections, and it's really beautiful that way, and our community cherishes this library amazingly. They're very supportive of us. But it's also a commuter branch, because we're right by 41st. So we get people who work around this area and just come in to pick up their holds or to quickly check an email or something along those lines. So we'd like to have a larger space that can accommodate those different needs.
I have a passion for science, and that seems to get into everything, actually. So when we do story times, I always try and include something that involves, either natural sciences. Animals are so easy to include, or our craft might include that. And then I do a craft session, which is now called Make and Explore, which has gone even more into science things, and sometimes they might not have a product, which is why we've got the explore bit on there, because parents kind of expect the kids to be bringing something back with them, and we don't always do that. Sometimes we're just exploring. Like we had a microscope session, and so they were out there collecting different things to then look at under the microscope, And they didn't take, well, they could take a little booklet home if they wanted to make a booklet, they could, but otherwise it was just an experience for them. And so, yeah, my passion is definitely science, and with adults as well. We want to have some sort of science program consistently for adults would be great. And then to have space for a science table, you know, because the kids want to bring things in. We had one downtown for a while. That was very popular for 3 or 4 years. We just had a table there. And we'd have seasonal things on there, like plants growing or things like that. And kids would bring something. We would put a label on it and put it on the table. And, yeah, they really like taking part in something like that. But we just can't do that here. There's no space for anything like that. So.
In fact, we had 2 children here yesterday. I would estimate them like 5 years old, maybe. And they were making paper airplanes and trying to fly them, and I'm thinking, okay, when do I need to tell them that they can't do this here? But they were actually, these little guys were like talking about, well, this is about aerodynamics, and aerodynamics is about, it's flat and it will fly. And I'm like, how wonderful would it be to have a space where I could call Brenda out and say, okay, give a mini lesson on aerodynamics, and you can make paper airplanes, and you can just spontaneously do this amazing thing. So, yeah, it's wonderful to have her science background. Yeah.
I don't know, just people, you know, just finding the right book for somebody is just so rewarding. I mean, you know, we all do that, but somebody comes in, they've been following a series, they've got to the last one, what are they going to read next? And just being able to find the next thing for them, that's just great. So I know we keep talking about doing programs and doing the e-books and doing computers, but really a lot of people just want a good book, you know, a really good read. And that's always great to be able to find.
Yeah, and my background before I came to the library was I'm a social worker. And so for me, being able to connect with people and link them to resources and know that they're getting good information, they're getting help, they're getting programs that can assist them, that they have a place to come to and grow. You know, it's just, it's yeah, it fills my heart.
Yeah, I don't know. I never used public libraries much as a youngster because I lived right next door to university. Maybe that's where my science interest came from. But I see it as much more than just a building. I think a library has to be in a community because that's where the community can go to find their information and to find the resources they need, both for self-education and self-development, but also just for fun and enjoyment. It's really valuable, especially as things get more and more costly. I think it fills a very desperate need. There's so many stories of people who are now eminent in their fields who started off their interest in a library because there was somebody there who was interested in them and developed their interest. They could give them the resources they actually needed. And they didn't get them in school, they didn't get them at home, they didn't get them anywhere else. They actually got them because the library was there when they needed it. And they have this curiosity. And most people have a lot of innate curiosity. And I think it's not just kids, it's adults as well. They come to a stage in their life when they want to rethink their life and do something different. And where are you going to find that? It's all very well saying, well, go online, which is fine if you have a computer and the internet, which don't forget, the internet is expensive to run. This gives a place where people can come and we can help them find the resources that they need and just to take a step in a different direction. And it's very difficult to find that anywhere else that's free and available and people are actually going to be interested in what they want to do.
I think one of the things that attracted me to even working in the library was that it's always felt like a home for me. And especially after being here for so many years, and mostly at this branch, it really does feel like a home for me. And home, what I mean by that is as a child, it was this fun place for me to go with my dad, which was unusual. My dad and I didn't necessarily do activities together very often, so he would take me to the library and that was really special. And then I could get books to read and I could bring home books and I loved reading. And then just walking in to these spaces, all of our branches, and seeing that same kind of response in other people and hearing them talk about that, I feel almost like here is my home. Come in, make yourself comfortable and see all the wonderful things that are here for you. And that's exciting. It's very fulfilling.